Welcome back to Booktalks Podcast. This is Kayla.
And Marissa.
And this week we read The House of Flame and Shadows. So the first Sarah J Maas book we've ever covered on the podcast was A House of Blood and Earth and Blood. I always just call that one Crescent City, and then I feel like I got into the house names. That was our first Sarah J Maas book we covered. So I feel like
Yeah.
this series is special to our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We should give a spoiler warning before we
Oh.
go any further. So do not listen unless you've read the book. It will probably spoil ACOTAR and Throne of Glass as well. So I would just read all of Sarah J Maas and then come back to us.
Read the 8 books and then the 5 books and then come back to
And I'm
this.
kind of like, whenever I realized that this was the last book of the series, it like hit me hard. Like I got really depressed actually.
Yeah, I kind of don't feel like it really is the last of the series. Like I feel like there may still be some interplay between the worlds and we could get into it, but she referenced obviously not only A Court of Thorns and Roses, but she referenced the word marks or weird marks or whatever from Throne of Glass. And so I was like, ooh, could this mean something else? I don't know, but I don't think it's the last we'll see of Bryce and Hunt.
I don't think it's the last we'll see of them, but the last that they're like the main people.
Yeah.
Um, Probably just like kind of how they did like the Nesta spin-off for A Court of Silver Flames they'll have. But I do think that she could have made this 2 books.
Oh, absolutely. And you were texting me some things that people were saying online and like you mentioned like you felt like it was a bit of an info dump at times. And I feel like she easily could have made this 2 books if it just hadn't been like an info dump, if she'd kind of explained things differently, I guess. I mean, I loved it. Don't get me wrong. Like, I loved this book. I got to the end and I was very sad that it was over. But I definitely think she could have like made this book alone into a 3-part, trilogy.
I felt like I loved it. Again, I did not think anything negative when I was reading it. I only went on social media and people were pointing out things that I'm like, they're kind of right.
Yeah.
I think it was, and I did feel this when I was reading, it was so rushed. I just felt like everything was like so like 100 miles per hour, and I feel like that's very much Bryce. Like that's how
Yes.
Bryce works. But I do wish we would have slowed down things a little bit because I
Uh-huh.
feel like I was like just like on a treadmill running, and then it was just like over. And
I didn't see like within the first 50 pages, I didn't see how she was going to wrap it all up in a single book. Like I don't care that it's 900 pages, like within the first couple chapters, I'm like there's no way to actually finish this in 900 pages with everything we have to get into. And I feel like there were things that weren't as explained as they could have been. Like I'm still not really sure I understand who the Asteri are or were, and like that wrap up with them just disappearing into a black hole, like is that all of them or are there still more Asteri on other worlds? Like there are parts that could have been talked about more.
I had been rereading ACOTAR. I'm up to Court of Wings and Ruin, and I think Armin Amrin is much more related to the Asteri because she comes through a split in the universe into the ACOTAR worlds.
Uh-huh.
Before there was like lords and everything, or high lords and whatever. So I don't think she is one, but she did used to drink blood and everything, like, but I think she comes from the same world as them or something. Like there's something fishy going on. Because there's a lot of Easter eggs that Sarah put in those books that we just completely forgot. And rereading it again, I'm like, is this gonna come up again? I mean, now she's like a high fae, or I don't even know if she's a high fae, she's just a regular fae.
Yeah.
But that was something that I in my reread post my House of Flame and Shadows depression, I was like, oh, interesting. I feel like there has to be more out there. There can't just be like 5 of them and that's it.
Yeah. There definitely has to be more. I was genuinely surprised, I guess, that there were only 6 in the Crescent City world and they were just ruling the entire world and there's just 6 of them. And like, I guess that speaks to their power, but also I'm like, really? There's only 6 of them.
Well, it also makes me realize how we can be also oblivious to like corruption. Like there could be some like blood-sucking parasite in America and we'd have no idea. We'd just be like living our best lives, like just going along with our daily tasks,
I
using our cell
mean,
phones, and we'd have no idea.
if you want to get into all the conspiracies, we can deep dive there. I fully believe there's a parasite in our water.
Maybe she pulled that from the conspiracy theories. No, I really thought this book, whenever, even halfway through, I'm like, how is she gonna wrap this up? Um, I still think it was incredible that she could. That was like
Yeah.
literally insane. Someone had said, and I really actually hated this, that she she has written characters that go beyond her writing talents or whatever. And I was like, she is one of the best writers of our generation. I
Yeah.
will fight this to my dying breath. Like her writing is impeccable. I cannot find many other writers who are as good as she is consistently through many books.
Yeah.
And that
Wait,
made
what
me
do
really
they even
mad.
mean by that? She's created, if she authored them, then they're within her writing capabilities.
Well, they said that because like Bryce did a lot of things off the page. Um,
Oh, I've seen that complaint all the time throughout all our readings of all these books. Everyone's like, Bryce just like comes up with plans and doesn't tell anyone, and then it's just magically revealed and it all works out. And I actually think Sarah like pointed out that she's seen those criticisms in this book because a couple times Rune or Hunt were like, Bryce probably has something up her sleeve and we'll be surprised later. And almost like hinting that, I don't know, Sarah's seen those things. But every book has to move along somehow. And at the end of the day, like every single book, there's some magical hero who comes in and saves the day. So, like, are you just mad that it's Bryce who's so smart and witty and like can get around things? I don't know. Their complaints I disagree with. I think Bryce is great. I think Bryce has ADHD and she's a little all over the place. And that's why she's just a lovable character and people can just sit down.
I don't know if well, you're not on social media currently. I think Instagram is so much worse this time around than it has been for any other book releases that we have been fans of.
Mm.
I mean, we started being fans right when A Court of Silver Flames came out, so like we're a little late to the party, but like I don't recall it being this aggressive and attacking of the books, or even just like all over the place. Like I've seen so many people dress up as Bryce on Instagram and like actually like reenact the scenes of Bryce like and this girl's like filming in like the city like wild like it's kind of freaky actually. It's just like so extreme and I feel like I don't know, I feel like we had our own little like niche little world where we all love Akatar and now it's like everywhere and
Uh-huh.
it like takes a little bit of the magic away.
Yeah. It's a little shocking how many people, like from my church and stuff, read it or read it or have read it or are reading it. And I'm always like, I forget how it came up. Oh, my book was just, we had the Super Bowl party. And this was just like sitting out on the coffee table. I'd been reading it earlier or something. And one of the girls from the church was like, oh my gosh, are you reading? And I was like, well, obviously I'm reading it. Yeah. And she was like, I have read the entire Core of Thorns and Roses series. And like, then all the other girls started chiming in. And yes, we're in the South, so they all talk like that. But they were just like, oh, like talking about it. And I was like, this is so crazy because one, we all go to church together. And now I know you all read smut. Like, two, I just didn't. I mean, I know Sarah J Maas is really popular. I guess I just didn't realize your next door neighbors are reading her. Like everyone's reading her.
It's becoming very like Harry Potter's in the like 2000s life. And I love that. I do, but I also loved our niche little world.
Yeah. Well, I just
So,
don't like how mean people are on social media. Like, I mean, that's why I got off TikTok and then I left Instagram for other reasons. I had nothing to do with Bookstagram, and I will be back and I'll make reels again. But yeah, like this book came out and I mean, Sarah J Maas is a best-selling author. You can't deny she's a good writer. Like she's published, she's tried and true. People love her. She has a following. So, like, if you're trying to bash her writing style and characters, that's not going to hold up against, the millions in her pocket. So, that's not a great argument. And so, if you're just attacking her for the sake of going against the grain or whatever, I don't know. It's lame, but people think it's cool.
I mean, to write this many pages and have readers literally be hooked, finish it in like a night, like you like we've tried writing. Like I can't do it.
No, we can, and we're going to. We are
We will-
going to write.
Yes. But I mean, obviously she said when did you watch her Good Morning America, or was it the Today Show interview where she started writing at like 15, 16? Like
Man.
she just started so young, but we can get there. We can practice. We will get to the finish a book soon. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. So I guess let's like go back to like the parts of the book. I love the crossover. I just wanted them to get along better.
I I liked the crossover. I thought them wandering through the tunnels was super long and drawn out, but I also appreciated it because it gave them time to interact and get to know Bryce. So it wasn't just like, I don't know, Nesta just, at the end when Nesta gave her the knife or sword or whatever it was, or whatever she gave her, the
The
mask.
mask.
Yeah. It wasn't like it was so random. Like Nesta had a chance to kind of assess her character and all that. So that part was good. And I thought we got a lot more of Azriel's personality, getting to see them through Bryce's perspective, which I really liked. I just wanted more of the Akatar crossover. I really thought Bryce, Nesta as and Cassian at least would cross over with Bryce and like help her fight the war. I mean, I thought Risa and Feyre could too, but I guess they have a kid at home. So they can't just leave the world. But I don't know. I just thought we'd get more of it.
Did you read the bonus chapter of Randall and her mom?
No.
Oh, it was so good. It actually takes place like 100% in Akatar. Like
Oh,
she pushes her mom into the other realm. It's like that. And it's so good.
um,
I'll send you it's all on Instagram, but you probably Google them too.
yeah.
Um that one we got a little more taste of everybody in it. They're like in the House of Wind and like it was great. The only thing is Feyre is not in any of these scenes. Like she wasn't in the crossover, she's not in the bonus chapter. Where is Feyre? Where is she hiding? What is going on? We keep seeing her eyes, we not see Feyre. Like what the heck?
I don't know. I feel like if she were dead or something, Risa would be like really upset about it. So like I don't think she's dead, but
Well,
it's
she
kind
can't be dead because he would die too.
oh, you're right, they're connected. I can't remember because I'm not on Instagram, but maybe I was briefly on Instagram before I left. I don't remember. All I know is I saw people who had posted about how they were really mad that Feyre is not in House of Flame and Shadow, and it was just Nesta. And they were like, Sarah J Maas, you've been teasing this, and like this is just cruel. But like they were not being cute and funny about it. They were like actually mad and saying they were going to boycott this book because Feyre's not in it. And I'm like, I mean, she's not in it, but also if she had been, it would have been a really small role anyway, because Nesta and Az were barely in it.
Well, I think she's setting up for the next book, and as she does for every book, she sets up for the next one. And we all know that the next one's about Azrael, so obviously he has to be in it. And I still think Nesta has a lot of unfinished things to do, especially after rereading of Court of Silver Flames before reading this.
Mm-hmm.
She solves some things, but there's still this whole why do they have the dead trove and all this stuff that Nesta has all this access to, and she still has power. And there's a lot of
Yeah.
yes, she found her mate and she's like happy, but like her work is not done. Um,
I was shocked in this book that she could still use the mask because I thought when she gave her power over to the cauldron, she wouldn't be able to do those kinds of things anymore. Like I know she got to keep some power, but being able to use the mask is still a sign of a lot of power.
well, I think she's still made like cauldron made, so I think
Oh,
like comes to like. So I
okay.
think that's probably why I bet you Elaine could also use the mask,
Mm.
but they would just never let her do it. I still hate it. Even rereading the books now, I still hate Elaine with all of my heart. And if she makes Elaine and Asriel become like together, I'm gonna lose my mind.
I like Elaine. I mean, I like Elaine less after A Court of Silver Flames. I liked her in the first two books. The third book, she kind of just becomes like a zombie, but like she's dealing with her grief in that way. But I didn't hate her. A Court of Silver Flames, I kind of disliked her because I felt like she was really unfair to Nesta. But I'm like, there's still hope for her,
No, I don't. I think you only like her because you're the part of you that always makes you side character energy, even though I don't support that. I think you should be main character energy. Relates to Elaine in
Yeah.
that part because you view her only as side character. I don't think she has, and I don't think you're her at all. Like I really don't think you are
I
like
always feel like I am Elaine.
you're not Elaine. I really don't think you are. I think you're honestly more Nesta than anything else. Um, Actually, 100% that you're as stubborn as Nesta to a T. I don't know if she's enough to be a main character. Like, does she have enough personality?
Well, I mean, I would have thought the next book would have been about her. So the fact that it's not, maybe Sarah's like, yeah, Elaine's not it.
Well, I forgot what she said in the interview, but it's definitely Asriel. And then so I went on a Tumblr deep dive, and people used to find Sarah J Maas's old Pinterest boards where she
Mhm.
had a bunch of ideas, and she had her Crescent City ideas before Crescent City was a thing, and she had a bunch of clips for a like Little Mermaid like retelling vibes, which
Oh,
is Gwen.
Gwen, yeah.
So I'm
It's
praying for
Gwen.
Gwen and Az. They have to
Unless
be it.
unless it's their Therion.
I'd die.
We could get a whole Therion Little Mermaid retelling.
If she does a fourth book and it's just like Therian the whole time, how many people would riot?
I mean, at that, I think I cannot support her in that endeavor. If she wants to do it, go for it. But I cannot give her my support there.
Well, the part that makes me believe that she will is because she introduced this whole new character like
I
three-fourths of the way through. What is it? Finn's what I forgot whose sister? Finn's sister?
Yeah, like Flynn,
Flynn's
Finn,
sister?
Flynn.
I don't the names all become one actually at this point.
Yeah, yeah,
I knew who it is, but yeah, her sister. We introduced this character, and she like matters. Like she's in a lot of scenes. Like, she has a voice. Like she's a
yeah.
unique character. She matters. Introduced like three-fourths of the way through of this book, the final book, and then
Uh-huh.
she runs off at the end in this unsolved thing. So
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be in it. Ethan's gonna be in it. Tharian's gonna be. They're in this book too much to not have their story told.
I literally, okay, I will say, I don't get whatever the heck happened with Ethan and Sabine's daughter, the Fender. Like, what we spent a whole effing book reading about Ethan and the Fender heir only to get like no resolution on that. Like, I don't even know. I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. I don't remember how it ends. I just know I was so annoyed for the first 300 pages of just reading about Ethan and Therian.
There is this meme and it's like this like those like two dancing dogs and it says Tharian and Ethan sharing one brain cell the entire book. And it's one of my favorite memes. I keep wanting to send you things and then you're not online, so I can't,
I
but it
know.
kills me.
That's a good one. I like that one.
I did believe her chapters were very short, and at times it kind of got you out of the groove. But I did think it kept me so engaged to want to read to the next Bryce part or the next Hunt part that I just was like, I have to read through Therian because I have to get to the next part. So I read it so fast because of that. But I
Uh-huh.
did think she wrote very short chapters, and I can see that being deterring to people being in the reading groove.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought the same thing about Therian, and I think her name's Sasha, right? Or
I'm
something like that.
forgetting what her name is.
Whatever his wife's name is. So introduced in the last 250 pages, gets her own little storyline about running after some guy. And on top of it, like within 4 minutes of meeting her, Bryce tells her all their secret plans and like just, actively trust this random person. I mean, she's Flynn's sister. I guess she's not too random. But I was just like, Sarah, what are we doing here? What we don't care about Therian. Like we could care less.
Yeah. And every time he had a safety route, he would just jump.
Oh my gosh. Literally, when he jumped off the boat, I mean, putting Bryce and Hunt and everyone in danger by going with them to Avalon. Like, because now the Ocean Queen or whatever, I don't really get the difference between the River Queen and the Ocean Queen. I don't know. I don't get it. But I'm just like, that put Bryce and Hunt in danger. And I didn't know if that was going to come back to bite them later, but it didn't. But I mean, like, he just makes dumb decisions. Oh, he's so stupid. It's funny because I did not hate him in the second book, but I loathed him in this book.
Well, when he joined the Viper Queen and like was the whole reason they were all roped into that mess, and like Ethan killed the heir because of him, and
Uh-huh.
then they get in the submarine, they get him there, and then he risks his life, and then he goes against Avalon, and then he like has like it's just such a mess.
Yeah.
Always, he's chaotic. Oh, I'm really happy Avalon has gotten to like their it's good again because it sounded such a depressing island.
Yeah.
But rereading A Court of Silver Flames right before that, I don't know if you remember the Helion had Pegasuses, and it's rumored that it's from the prison island, and that's why he only has six left, and they're very rare. And now they're back on that island too. So I hope
Uh,
now that they took all the ma like the bad mat or the magic out of the land and the prison, well, the
mhm.
Pegasuses come back to
Yeah.
the prison.
I think they will. Bryce said she thought they might be connected, the lands. So she thought maybe when Avalon healed or whatever, the prison land might heal too.
Well, she did take their energy out, so I don't know what happened when she left
Yeah.
because she needed it to
Interesting.
be her like whole power. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
okay, one part that I literally read and I literally had to put the book down. And I was like, "Oh my God." It was when why am I forgetting her name? Day. What was her real name? Oh, Lydia was
Lydia.
revealed that her son's name is like
Oh,
basically she's related to Aelin, and I was like, oh
yeah.
my God. And they're described exactly the same. So I don't know how I didn't see it until that point, but I was like shook. I was like, oh my God.
I had heard after the last book came out, people making comparisons, obviously between Rune and Rhysand, and then people were saying Lydia was like Aelin. She presents as fire, all this stuff. And so people, at the time, over a year ago, were speculating, what does this mean? Are they going to bring Throne of Glass in? Is it going to just be Akatar? Like, is somehow she connected? I kind of forgot about all of that until that part was revealed in this book, and I was like, oh, "What?" Um, but
Well,
I
her
mean,
flame was so small, so I didn't like put two and two together. And her real talent was like she was like a shifter. So like no one talked about her flame, but then when the parasite was removed and she was like literally living flame.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's that because she presented as Flame to Rune, when they would like mind f mind communicate, whatever. He was star, she was fire. Yeah, look, I just didn't think about any of that. And then she named her kid after Brandon or something.
I forget what it was, but it's basically after Aelin's dad or
Yeah.
something like that, or I forget who she named him after. But I remember when I literally put it down, I was like, oh my God.
I honestly, in the back of my mind, I knew Bryce and Hunt were going to have a happily ever after, but there was also a part of me that thought one or both of them was going to die. I really thought it was going to happen.
People are complaining that their reunion wasn't as they expected, like it didn't live up to their like expectations. But I think back to like all their other grand reunions she has in her other books, and Bryce and Hunt were only apart for like a week.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
whenever Feyre and Rise got back together, she was gone for like over a month. Like I actually don't know the time frame, but like it definitely was a lot longer. And you have not read the last Throne of Glass book, right? So I will not mention the other big reunion, but that was also months.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No,
I thought it was appropriate. Like, yeah, he was tortured, but also that's not Bryce. Like Bryce is not a coddler. She'll never coddle anybody.
yeah.
She's
And like,
self-love.
are we talking about like when she walks in on the River Queen or whoever's boat and they kind of like I mean they can't rekindle right there. They're in literally a political meeting and then one of them didn't want to sleep together because they were like literally exhausted. I'm like it wasn't that big of a deal. It was just someone who's comfortable in a relationship, like I don't know.
Yeah, everyone was like making a big thing. They're like, "Oh, we were robbed the reunion we wanted," and I was like, "No,
What?
they were gone like a week. Like, yeah, he's been through some shit, but like, she has been too. She was like in some other world. She didn't know if she can come back either. Like, he wasn't the only one suffering, and it was like
Yeah.
literally a week."
He was a bit of a weenie whiny baby. I'm not gonna lie. I love I love
Marissa, they chewed off a hand.
I love Hunt, right? He's the first Sarah J Maas man that I was introduced to. He's always gonna have a special place in my heart. But when Bryce got back, he was a bit of a weenie whiny baby. And I was just like, Hunt, come on, that's not the man Bryce fell in love with.
Well, she told him to buck up. Uh, Whenever Rune would not forgive like Lydia, I was like, you also buck up.
Yeah, I didn't really get that. I'm like, dude, like I don't know, he feels like a child to me. She feels like a mature mom, and he's like well, she didn't feel like a mature mom until I learned she had kids. She just seemed mature, but now she's like a 40-year-old mom with kids. And Rude's like 16 in my mind, so I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. But yeah, he needs to grow up too. He's a bit of a child.
I think he definitely has Peter Pan syndrome for
Mm.
sure. But no, whenever her kids were revealed, I was shook. But I feel like he was such a jerk to her until she like literally almost died. He like kind of forgave her, and not even then really. Like he waited by her hospital bed, and then he still didn't really forgive her.
I know, I know. No, I mean, I really like Lydia, so anytime Rune was being salty with her, it was kind of a bit of a turn off for me. I'm like, Rune, you were so attractive in the second book, but this book, like, you're kind of in the wrong for being mean to her, you know? Like, she's a secret agent. She can't tell you who she is.
I also like I don't know how she did it for so many years. Like my poker face is crap. Like I would have been ratted out easily within like a week.
She is literally everything I want to be in life. And I will never achieve even like a quarter of the kind of just control and whatever she has, like the poise. And I don't know. I want to be her so badly. I always dreamed of being a secret assassin agent.
I would kill for a prequel of her.
Yeah.
Of her
Yeah.
like switching sides and everything, like would kill for one. Because I feel like she gives main character energy and she needs
Oh,
to be
yeah.
main character.
She gives
I
me
mean,
character energy.
she is the main character, but like she isn't Bryce. And like
Yeah.
she rivals Aelin in like
Yeah. Yeah.
badassery.
I loved when it was one point where Bryce had like declared herself queen and was giving everyone orders or something. And then she's like, Lydia, I'm not gonna even try to give you orders. Like Lydia can do what she wants. Everyone else serves me, but Lydia can do what she wants.
Well, yeah, no, she was best. I don't know why this made me think of this, but know what it really made me mad? The fact that Tharian and Ethan couldn't even deliver the anti-parasite stuff in a reasonable way to the final battle. What was their point?
I don't know. When I tell you, okay, I was waiting the entire book for their stories to mean something because I asked you if I could skip their chapters, and you said, no, Marissa, you're not allowed to skip their chapters. I could have skipped their chapters and I would be just fine because they served zero purpose in this story.
Well, if you would have skipped their chapter, you wouldn't even know about the anti-parasite stuff
I
because
know.
the only time we got the which I'm forgetting her name, Hypaxia. The only time we
Axia.
got Hypaxia's stuff is through their chapter, so we had to do that to get everything else. So you couldn't have skipped it. Um, Hypaxia reminds me so much of how far did you get in Throne of Glass?
Up till Tower of Dawn.
Did you read Tower of Dawn?
I read like 200 pages of it, I think.
See, I forget her name. It starts with a Y. In Tower of Dawn,
Uh-huh.
they
Yeah,
remind me so much of each other. Um,
yeah.
they remind me of each other. And then the biggest plot twist I thought of this book was Bryce's old boss, Jessica.
Oh, yes.
biggest
Yes.
plot twist of them all. We all think she's like this evil villain, and really she's like this priestess who saves the day completely.
Literally love Jessica. I always have, but she always reminded me of Amren. And I also loved Amren. And I know a lot of people don't love Amren. I don't know. I love little mysterious women who you can't figure anything out, but they're all powerful beings, like who are they? I don't know. And so she always reminded me of Amren. And so I still like I didn't see her just actually being a priestess human kind of thing. And then she was just cursed. And then she like learned witchcraft or something. I don't know. Like it was definitely not something I saw coming, but I thought her ending was very sweet.
That was so sweet, and I just thought it was like the biggest plot twist ever.
Yeah,
I
I
did not
liked
see
her
that coming. Also, what was Fury's whole point?
in the book.
Yeah, like what like I don't know, I just felt like there was something big, like she was destined for bigger.
I agree. At least when I read Crescent City, I really liked Fury, and I was thinking, "Ooh, I want to be Fury." Yeah, this was before we knew Lydia. Fury was like the secret assassin badass, and I was like, "Yeah, I want to be Fury." And then nothing really ever came of that. Like, she just didn't evolve into anything. And honestly, like, she wasn't part of Bryce's inner circle. It didn't seem like Bryce's inner circle became Ethan apparently, and Declan, whoever the hell Declan is, and Rune and Flynn. I literally Flynn and Declan are the same person in my mind. I don't know who they are.
Declan is the programmer and he has the boyfriend who's a lawyer, and then Flynn is just the party boy, like Fey Prince or Lord.
They were all gay in my mind because I couldn't remember which one was which. And so the whole time I actually thought Flynn and Declan were together.
uh, um, I do love when like they have like no, I love when the main guy has like two like dumb best friends. Like
Mm-hmm.
even in the story we want to write, like I don't want my main guy to have like just two best friends that just kind of follow him around. Like that's their whole personality, is just following him around. Like they have nothing else to them. I kind of love that. I don't know why.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
No,
they have
I like,
but not really.
I mean, my only issue with the dumb boy thing is that I feel like all the women in this book are so smart and mature. Like Hypaxia is this like very skilled witch, and then Lydia leads this double agent life and she has children, and and then we get like Rune, Flynn, and Declan who are just all idiots.
Well, that's the point. They're gonna get whipped into shape now.
Yes. I am sad though that we were completely robbed of Baxian and Danica's stories.
He's one of my favorites, and it breaks my heart that he will live the rest of his life like alone.
Yeah.
Like it really breaks my heart. Like I think if I was him, I would just kill myself.
I mean, honestly, the way Sarah J Maas writes about mates, I almost don't see why you wouldn't. Like, so he could go be with her. Because Bryce literally says, like, oh, by the way, Baxian, when you die, hint, hint, week, week, you'll get to be with Danica again. I'd be like, okay, where's the knife? Like, let's do this.
I get he stayed alive to like live out her mission and fight for her battle, but like it's won.
Yeah.
What do you do with yourself then? Do you just like you do you date after that? You can't date. No one will replace your mate.
Yeah. I wouldn't
I
think so.
I don't know. Um, which brings me back to the whole like Elaine and Lucian thing, because I'm in the Court of Wings and Ruin and they're like trying to like get like he can just feel the bond, but like she wants nothing to do with the bond, and then everyone on Instagram is like Tamlin and Elaine are endgame. I'm like,
Oh, no. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
people are so hard for Tamlin and Elaine. I think they just hate both of them so much.
Uh, no, I mean, there's so many reasons I don't like that, but like Tamlin slept with Feyre. That'd be weird if he then slept with her sister.
Yeah. Another thing people were saying about Sarah J Maas that made me C read was that she's the next Colleen Hoover. And I said, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?"
Colleen Hoover
This
wishes she could be Sarah J Maas.
this is not even a comparison. I
No.
was like shocked. I had like literally was like at a loss of words, whoever wrote that, because I was like, do you live under like a box?
That is someone who's new to reading and new to this community who would say that. Because like Colleen Hoover became popular because of Book Talk. I'm not saying she didn't make sales or wasn't an like a famous author before then, but she blew up in popularity because of Book Talk. And she's even like said Book Talk changed her life. Sarah J Maas has been a big author long before. I mean, Sarah J Maas isn't even like popular on Book Talk necessarily. I mean, she doesn't have social media accounts. Her Instagram is literally probably run by some manager who just like every once in a while posts like, by the way, we're releasing a new book. You know, like her Instagram, it's not like she interacts with people. So she's famous based on writing alone. Like that's not even a comparison.
She has said that she doesn't even have the apps. Like her friends will tell her because she doesn't want to know like people's like conspiracy theories or anything. Like she wants nothing to influence her writing. And she stays off the apps. She says that her friends sometimes send her like memes or something like that, but like other than that, she stays off of it. So yeah, no, and like Sarah's been huge since she was literally like 17 years old and the series took off. She had fans from when she wrote the first Thorn Glass book online.
Yeah.
And she's been at Comic-Con and like all these crazy things. Like she's a huge author for many years and writes this like and she's just like a niche author in fantasy. And like that's why it was previously just like fantasy readers loved her. And now it's just grown to everybody and their mom's like not even comparison of authors. Like, yeah, no, I was shocked. I was so mad.
Yeah. One thing that you just said that I will say, I was my only disappointment with this book is that I feel as though some of the conspiracies I read about it leading up to it honestly were better than what the book turned out to be. Like people's theories out there were so wild. You had people saying that Azriel and Bryce were going to end up being mates and she was going to have to choose. And then like you had the stuff with the Valg and the Valg princes were going to be the Assyrian. It was like all going to connect and blah, blah, blah. And like the theories between whatever the last book was, Wind, whatever, and this one, you know, like the theories were so wild and outlandish that I think it like raised my expectations really high. And then we got to the book, and you know, if Sarah J. Maas has stayed offline, she didn't see any of those theories. So she wrote the book she wanted, and like that's all we can ask for. But I will say it didn't live up to some of those crazy theories. It's not that the book was bad. If those theories had never existed, I would have just loved the book just fine. It's just like with those theories out there, I kind of was expecting all the worlds to really interconnect, and it didn't end up being like that.
Well, I think that's why everyone feels underwhelmed with the crossover because they
Yeah.
expected so much more from it. And it really was just us learning the info dump. And the historical things we learned in the Akatar world are honestly the same things we learned in the Crescent City world. They're really the same items, just different names.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only point it really served. And everyone thought it was like this big thing. Um, so that's like, and that's what kind of sucks about the internet. It's
Mm.
awesome in ways that we're all like big group read and like everyone's so excited and gets you so excited. Like I was at the midnight release and like it was one of the best nights of my life. Like I still have chills thinking about it. But also, I don't know, I just like this that whole point. Like it makes the book experience not as magical.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I wasn't there for the midnight release. I wish I'd gone. I checked all the Huntsville Barnes and Noble. Well, there's only one Huntsville Barnes and Noble.
All of them.
I checked all of them. No, but I did check there's a Barnes and Noble like in Decatur, and I checked like the surrounding areas. Like unless I was gonna drive an hour and a half to Nashville, which wasn't gonna do that for a midnight release party. Although there are people who probably would, but I had work the next day, so whatever. You know, like I wish I'd been able to go. I wish I could have experienced that. I didn't get to. I didn't get to start reading the book until a lot later. And thankfully, I was offline, so I wasn't getting any spoilers or anyone else's opinion. So, how I felt about the book truly was like how I felt. Because I don't know how many times I've let the internet convince me to feel a certain way. Or like Goodreads, like with this, I didn't even leave a review. You know, like normally I always leave a review, but the problem is when I leave a review, I'll go read other people's reviews. And then I'm like, ooh, that 5 star I just gave it. Maybe I should like lower it. And like, maybe it wasn't as good as I thought it was. This, I just put in my rating and I like turned off Goodreads and I was like, I'm just going to savor the feeling I have because, you know, the internet can just be such a nasty place. And I'm sure there are people tearing this book apart. And I think it was a good book.
I think I loved it. I didn't look at anything until after I read it. And then I went online and I was like, it made me mad.
Yeah.
But no, she can do no wrong to me. Next time you have to come to New York.
I know. I almost booked like a last minute flight to come. I really did. I was like, should I just go?
It was very cool. They did like they closed the whole store was closed and it was like an event. It was like something like a task on each floor. Um, so it was very cool. Uh, I do think they should have done like a scavenger hunt or something. That was a little I had some ideas for them that they could have used. Um, but it was a lot of fun. I recommend it. I want you to come next time for sure. I think it's just gonna get bigger and bigger. Like I think her fan base is gonna get huge. But yeah, no, so I'm reading my way through ACOTAR again because I was in a deep depression.
Mhm.
And now I'm gonna start rereading Throne of Glass after that. You need to finish Throne of Glass.
I know. I know.
I like Kingdom of Ash, she is the best ending to a series I've ever read.
Mm,
I actually wasn't depressed after that because she ended it so perfectly.
really.
Like it was just like it was so good.
I feel like I need to go back and reread it all. It's been so long now. But also, like, I do know what all has happened because, like, I paid such close attention as I was reading the first books. The only one I'll probably have to start back over is Tower of Dawn.
You gotta do the tandem read
Yeah, I know.
with Empire Storm because it really like it makes it so much better because Tower of Dawn is very slow and Empire Storm is so fast. So when you put them together, it's the perfect storm.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it makes it like a 1,000 or 1,500 page read to do them both.
I did when I was reading it like summer and I think I finished it in like a week. I was like so obsessed. My friend
Yeah.
Tanner is reading it now and he keeps texting me and I like can't say anything because I forget what happens in each book. Like it's all just like a continuous story in my head. So I'm like, let me know when you finish. Because
Well,
I don't want to say anything.
I will say Aelin and Rowan hold a special place in my heart. Not the same way Hunt and Bryce do, because Hunt and Bryce were my first Sarah J Maas couple, so they'll always be like my favorite. But I will not forget crying during Air of Fire when they get their little Cranim bond. Oh gosh, these are kind of spoilers. Whatever.
We spoiled. I said we said we were spoiling all of it.
Okay.
Don't unless you've
Okay.
read all of Sarah J Maas, do not listen.
It's true. You did say that. But when they bond, like when he ends up bonding with Aelin and there's like all this fire around them and like she needs his power and like I don't know. I just remember I was in my bathroom reading it crying. Just like on the floor, like it was so beautiful. And I thought I'd never read anything more beautiful in my life. And so I really want to finish their story. I think I'm just overwhelmed at the idea of doing Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms.
I know. Just take it page by page though.
Yeah.
You don't have any goals right now. You have nothing pressing you.
And I think I'm going to do it on Kindle so I won't actually see how much I have left to read, you know?
Yeah, no, I definitely recommend doing that. It just makes it much better. I think it's gonna be your favorite series because it's just like it's just so good. Chef's
Yeah.
kiss. It's my favorite series. I rereading Crescent City, the first two books, I was honestly like, oh, maybe I like Crescent City the most. I don't. sh- I still think Throne of Glass is better. I just think she wrapped it up so perfectly, and
Mhm.
everything had a point, and everything like fit like a puzzle. Whereas I feel like a lot of this is still unknown to us.
Yeah, and I don't want to say something I'll regret because I don't know if it's true, but I did get the feeling in the last 300 pages of this book that maybe Sarah was kind of bored with this story. And that's why she kind of just rushed things and wrapped them up. Like maybe she was ready to get back to Azriel's story. Maybe she had other ideas because she's talked about these other ideas she has, and she signed like some 10 books deal with So I was like, maybe she just wanted to be done with this. I mean, I don't know that it's true. And I feel like that makes it sound like it's not a good book. And it was. I liked it. But it did kind of feel like maybe she was just trying to get done with it to get done with it.
So she had said, I forgot what interview she said, that she had written the whole book and then scrapped it and rewrote the whole thing in like 3 months.
What?
Yeah, so this is like her rewrote it. She said it
Mm,
wasn't the book she wanted to give to the people, and that's why it was delayed because she scrapped it and started again.
wow. I feel that.
Which I'm like, is so Marissa move.
I literally had like 30,000 words written at one point and I deleted them all.
I know you recorded it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this book made me want to start writing for reals. And I really want to take, well, me and we're starting our writing class next week, and I really want to take a Greek mythology class because I honestly feel like there's so much Greek mythology she has in her books that aren't even obvious ones that I want to learn more about and just like honestly find inspiration in it. And I also just watched the Percy Jackson series on Disney
Okay.
Plus, and
Okay.
it was really good. I recommend it actually.
Did you ever read
Um,
these books?
yeah, I read them like when we were like COVID. Like I had to read them in 2020.
You read them during COVID?
Well, whenever we were recording, I think I just listened to all of them like in 1 week, and they're really good. Like I would have loved them as a kid.
I was gonna say I read them in middle school, so I was a kid.
Would have loved them then. The same with the selection I read during that year, and I was like, I would have loved this as a kid. As an
Yeah,
adult, not so much.
yeah, yeah. No, I
But
love
no, the
Percy
show is really
Jackson.
good. I recommend.
I always envisioned myself in the Percy Jackson world, and I was the daughter of Hades or the bad guy or the bad god, the god of death or whatever. I was always his daughter.
Well, thanks for listening. This is Kayla.
And Marissa.
And make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Booktalks Podcast and to subscribe on YouTube. Have a good day.